Hey guys, I'm going to be telling you 3 different ways you can identify if your dog has an ear infection. My name is Amy. I'm one of the co-owners of Summit Hound. I was a vet tech for 3 years, so I do specialize in everything health, nutrition, and allergies. If you want to take a look at my other social media pages, this is my TikTok and this is my Instagram. Okay, so there are a number of reasons why your dog may have an ear infection. The first common causes you may see include things like allergies, ear mites, yeast, fungus, things like that. In your dog's ear, normally you will find skin, glands, and fluids, which all make up the natural makeup of a dog's ear. And typically there is a natural balance of yeast and bacteria. But unfortunately, when the balance is disrupted, that is when you will notice that the ears can become infected. The first common thing that you will notice if your dog has an ear infection is going to be ear scratching. So if you notice that your dog is constantly scratching their ear nonstop, you notice that they are trying to rub their ears on your carpet, on the ground, on the grass, any surface that they can to give their ears some relief, you will find that your dog does have an ear infection. Unfortunately, if you don't get your dog's ear infection under control, that buildup of scratching nonstop can lead to your dog getting something called an ear hematoma, and it also can make the infection way worse. Unfortunately, until you treat your dog's ear infection, they will constantly scratch over and over again. It is basically like when your back is itching and you want to scratch that area, it just gives you a sensation of relief. So that is exactly what your dog is looking for when they're scratching. They're trying to fix the problem that is at hand. And unfortunately, they're going to keep scratching, and the scratching makes it way worse than intended. The next big common thing that you will see when it comes to signs of your dogs having an ear infection is going to be red and inflamed skin. And you will also notice in this red and inflamed skin, you will see things like discharge. You'll notice a lot of scabbing, things like that. So that is literally from your dog potentially scratching their ear and tearing that ear up to the point where it's building an infection. So the ear starts to swell up really, really, really bad. So you do want to try to get the ear infection under control before it gets to this point of the red swollenness, unfortunately, because that is when it becomes very, very painful. So when it gets to this point, your dog will not want you touching the inside of their ear. They will screech and sometimes become very aggressive towards you because you are constantly trying to help them out. In all actuality, the reason why they are doing it is because the ear is now so red and swollen that it is closing in on them, so you can't even really get to the ear canal at this point in time to even apply medication and things like that. So your dog would have to undergo a course of antibiotics and anti-inflammatories. Anti-inflammatories would give your dog some relief because it will bring the redness down. So the antibiotics are just strictly for the bacteria that is growing, and anti-inflammatory medication is strictly to get the inflammation to go down. So all that swollenness, that redness, things like that, you want to get them on any of those, both of those things, honestly, because they cannot work without the other. If you want your dog to get rid of that nasty ear infection with the swollenness, the anti-inflammatory, it cannot work if your dog is still constantly scratching, and the bacteria cannot go away if your dog is constantly scratching as well. They need both hand in hand to get rid of the bacteria and the inflammation in total to give your dog the relief that they are looking for. The final thing that you will notice that in your dog having a nasty ear infection is going to be odor. So again, there is a normal amount of yeast and bacteria already in your pup's ear. If that changes or there is too much of the balance gets knocked off, that means that you will start to see an overgrowth in fungi and bacteria. So when you start to smell something that smells like a yeasty smell, I'm gonna just use it in terms you may understand. If you open a bag of corn chips, so like Fritos, things like that, or it also smells like moldy cheese or cheesy popcorn, that is when you'll see, unfortunately, that your dog does have an ear infection. And I think that is probably one of the fastest ways you can tell if your dog has an ear infection, because the scratching and the red inflammation, things like that, they do happen, but they may happen at a slower rate in comparison to starting to smell that yeast and that bacteria buildup, and it leaves that odor behind. So it is very important that we are getting ahead of these ear infections when we do notice them. If you see that you are having that smell going on, if you see that there is redness and scabbing and inflammation in there, if you see your dog itching constantly, scratching their ear constantly, it is important as the owners that we get ahead of it to take care of your pup, because I promise you, the worse that it gets, unfortunately, the more that your pockets will have to suffer. If you're like me and you have dogs that suffer from severe allergies, I'm going to recommend you some really good ear cleaners that you can get over the counter, not prescribed by a veterinarian, but they are amazing. I promise you they work wonders. I have spent thousands of dollars at the vet with my dogs, spending money just trying to get their ear infections, skin infections, paw licking, everything under control. So I'm gonna recommend you a few, and these are my top 2. Okay, so the first ear cleaner I'm going to recommend to you is Zymox Enzymatic Ear Cleanser. So this one is amazing. This one is great for ear maintenance. If you do have a dog that suffers really bad with ear infections on and off consistently, please make sure that you are making sure that you are getting in there, cleaning those ears at least once a week or every bath time. So every 2 weeks. It is also important that you're making sure that you're keeping water out of the ears, any liquid that can get into the ears. If you have another dog that likes to groom your other dogs, the less amount of moisture that is in your pup's ear, the way less you will see ear infections happen. So you may find this one on Chewy for about 15 to 18 bucks. It is fairly cheap. You can get it right over the counter. It is a great ear cleaner. It is veterinarian recommended. So please try this ear cleaner out, and please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or concerns about it. The next ear cleaner that I do recommend is going to be Odor Bliss Ear Cleaner. This ear cleanser is amazing because, again, it does reduce head shaking, ear scratching, and the infection from getting potentially worse. So again, these are my top 2 ear cleaners that I do recommend for you and your pup. Please give them a try them out, check out some reviews on them, see if you like them. If you do need help with your dog's training, you need help with tips on health, nutrition, and your dog suffers from really bad allergies, please tap the link in the description to join our community. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please do not be afraid to comment something in the comment section. Ask me any questions. I will send you any more recommendations. Let me know what your dog may be going through. If you have any questions overall, just drop those in the comments. And as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.